ModSponge is looking into possibly introducing multiple new types or tiers of clue scrolls named seasonal clue scrolls. He's been looking into it during his December Game Jam project, which is pretty much a time period where developers at Jagex can work on whatever they feel like they want to be working on, whether that's an own idea or an idea pitched by the community. And ModSponge chose to work on a clue scroll update, which would see the introduction of seasonal clue scrolls. By the way, these are not set in stone. This update could never ever happen in RuneScape, but let's hope it does, because I think it would be great for clue scroll community and just in general for myself, because I love clue scrolls and it looks really good. And in this video I want to see what he has been working on, kind of give you guys a summary, but more so focus on the issues with clue scroll, the things that need to be solved with it, and the things that are great as well and that could be implemented into these seasonal clue scrolls, and obviously what the seasonal clue scrolls are to begin with. So if you're going to enjoy this video, definitely go give it a like. Let me know in the comment section down below, what are the reasons why you aren't doing clue scrolls? Like, is it the puzzle boxes? Is it the way it's explained in the game? Like, what are the reasons you're currently not doing clue scrolls? Or what are the reasons you are doing clue scrolls? I want to know it all in the comment section down below. Let me know. Leave a like in the video as well. Subscribe if you are new. As I've been saying in the last few videos, we've been trying to get to 5K by the end of the year, and I would highly appreciate it if you click the subscribe button. Much content will be coming to this channel, and I don't think that's proper grammar, but I don't care. You get the point. Let's talk about it. Before we tackle what these new seasonal clue scrolls are, I think it's important we talk about clue scrolls in general, the issues and what makes them fun, but also why there haven't really been any clue updates, because I think there's actually a feasible explanation for it, and one of them is one of the major issues with clue scrolls, and that is just the inaccessibility of the content and just the unclear in-game indication on what to do. Do you know how to solve a puzzle box? Do you know that you need to solve the 3 top layers horizontally and the bottom 2 layers vertically? Do you know that? Well, if you don't, you have to Google it or use Alt1 Toolkit, which by the way is completely condoned by Jagex. You're allowed to use it, you won't get banned for using it, it's just an overlay. And I'll put the correct link in the description down below, by the way, as well, if you need it. And if you need any other resource around clues, go join the Clue Chasers. They're an amazing clue community that try to make clues as accessible as possible for everyone, and they have many guides in their Discord server, so go check them out as well. But they're very inaccessible. If you don't know how to do those puzzle boxes, good luck figuring it out. Have you ever done an anagram? If not, good luck, because the game doesn't tell you. Time to Google. Or these coordinate clue scrolls. Do you know you need to use a sextant to figure it out? Well, the game tells you somewhere, but not when you pick up your first clue scroll. And that would really be amazing if the first few clue scrolls would actually tell you how these steps work. But they don't. So good luck Googling again. And I think that is like one of the major issues, and also one of the things that Jagex probably knows, because obviously they're aware of Alt1, and I would probably say that the developers who play the game, which by the way is a lot, are probably using Alt1 as well, because clue scrolls are just, yeah, if you don't use Alt1, mate, you're absolutely nuts. I use it myself as well. I've talked about in a video before that I don't think it should exist, mainly because I think everything Alt1 offers should be in the game itself. Well, especially something like a clue scroll helper, or at least have it not be required, because if the content was good enough, then you would be able to solve it without it, right? But then again, I do think that Jagex understands it, and I think that they might see it in a way of like, oh, well, we know that there's so many issues with it, and it's inaccessible to the average player, like the, you know, casual Johnny 478 that is playing RuneScape, that picks up a clue scroll, gets confused, doesn't Google it, and drops it again. And it's not worth for them to make content for it when you could just pop out a new boss or new skilling activity or new quest that is way more approachable and accessible to other people as well. And I think that that's like one of the main things. I do also think that like a little bit, like just a little bit of a ranting, I do think that the Clue Chasers community, or just the clue community in general, is also slightly their biggest enemy, because they like doing clue scrolls in a specific way, right? Like, it's a playstyle, and I love that it is a playstyle. I think it's great that pretty much clue chasing is replacing PKing as a playstyle within RuneScape 3, right? Like, we have PVM, skilling, and clue scrolling or clue chasing, whatever the hell you want to call it. But also too, the thing that the clue community is a little bit of their biggest enemy, because I see a lot of sentiment like in their Discord, but also like on socials of like, oh, why you change this about clues? Oh, why this step takes way too long to get? Oh, this, that, or the other. And I think an easy solution would just be if you introduce a new step that you take the averages of all the other steps, which they have mapped out. Jag can easily access this information, and they probably would if they would work on new steps. But just take the average time that it takes to do a step, right? Like whether that's like, let's say it's 40 seconds to do a step. Just make the new step around that 40-second mark, and you're good, right? Like close to a teleport, make it so that it works out with like whatever they're doing, and then the Clue Chase community won't complain about it, and they be happy chappies, right? And I think it would be great if every new area would introduce new steps, like old school RuneScape does. They just think like, oh, new area, look, we have new clue steps, and it will bring you to those new areas as well, and give them a little bit more purpose than just whatever they're designed to be. But another issue that I think that is there, besides Alt 1 being a requirement and no clear indications in the game, is that there's pretty much like, I would say, puzzle fear. If I ever talk to anyone who's not doing clue scrolls, or when I'm doing clue scrolls on stream, link in the description down below, by the way, then I always get the question of like, oh, how are you doing clue scrolls? I don't like doing them because I don't like doing the puzzle boxes. I don't like doing the puzzles. I don't like doing the knots or whatever the hell puzzles are in clue scrolls, right? That is the main thing that I see pretty much everywhere. And I think, you know, certain content having aspects to it that you might enjoy less and other people might really enjoy more is fine. But I feel like the average complaint that you pretty much see everywhere is that people just don't like doing clue scrolls because of the puzzles. Do I think you should remove the puzzles? No, but you should make them easier to complete. Whether that's introducing, well, shorter steps on puzzle box would be great to begin with, because on average there are 150 steps right now, and it's absolutely ridiculous in my opinion. But I think even just introducing a system like the dead and buried quest slider puzzle, where if the piece is in the right place, it lights up red or has an outline on it or whatever the hell you want to put on it. And I think that would already help people not having to use Alt 1, right? I think that would be a great solution for puzzle boxes in general, and you could just toggle it on and off if you want that or not. But the fact that people fear to get puzzles, puzzle fear, I'm gonna coin that term in this video, so you heard it here first, is not good. And that means that the activity literally becomes a chore, because there's so much good to clue scrolls, right? Besides obviously the ability to make a ridiculous amount of money. I think I made the majority of my wealth of clue scrolls. I think I made an easy 10-15 billion GP of clue scrolls alone. And there's not even, like, obviously I got lucky once with a blood die, but overall it's just consistent money. Clue scrolls, or easy clue scrolls, sorry, are about 35 million GP an hour if you do them semi-efficiently, and I'm not even talking like high-level efficiently. Or hard clue scrolls are also a ridiculous amount of money, and you can get the Barrows or Shadow die. And if you get lucky with Elites or Masters and get one of the big boy dies, yeah, you're a billionaire now. So it's great for money, but I also think it's just great piece of content because there's a variety of things to do. It's pretty much like a different playstyle. It sits between very active playstyle, very sweaty PVM, and very chill skilling content where, yeah, it's active, yeah, you need to move around the game, but there aren't really mechanics that, you know, really require you to play or lean forward that much. Obviously, clue chasers optimize clue scrolls, and there's a skill gap in clue scrolls 100%. But where a piece of gear can make a huge difference in PVM between you being able to skip a mechanic or be able to even take out the boss to begin with and not doing so. In clue scrolls, the only real difference between having an item or not having an item, for teleports usually, is 5 seconds of your time. Like, it just takes a little bit of extra time, and I think that is great, and it makes you unlock more niche items. Like, you don't really need the Pharaoh Scepter for anything in the game, but if you want to do clue scrolls, especially hard ones, it's quite nice to have. And I think it's just a great unlock path for your accounts, not just for those items, but it also gives you a reason to do quests. If you pick up a clue scroll and it tells you to do the Watchtower quest to unlock the Ogre City, well, go do it. Because once you've done the quest, you've unlocked that forever, and whenever you get the step next, you will always be able to do it and make a nice bit of money. As I said, it helps you with gathering items, but it also helps you with leveling up certain skills, because there are also skill requirements to master clue scrolls, where you need to fletch a Dragonite body, for example, Black Dragonite body, and you need a certain crafting for it. Sorry, you're not fletching level. Fletching is a different skill. That makes arrows and bows. You have arrows and bows. But crafting. It gives a purpose, especially for mains, for crafting. Because besides 99, I don't think there's really a reason for you to train crafting. Unless you want to make some money, I guess. I don't think crafting even makes money. So there's not really a reason. And this gives you a reason to it. And it's just different enough to PVM and skilling, in my opinion. That it just makes it great. But there are some changes that I'd love to see. Besides, of course, better explanation. And literally a tutorial on how to do clue scrolls in general. I think when you pick it up, there should be pop-ups that tell you how to do it, or even just a simplification of it. Maybe a help feature after a certain time of a when you do a clue scroll, where it pretty much gives you indicators or whatever if you've been in that interface for like 2 minutes. So it doesn't really impact the actual clue scrollers, but it helps the newer players, right? Or that highlight feature that I talked about, where if you put in the right number, or in the tower puzzles, for example, or if you put the right slot for the puzzle boxes, it will just highlight itself. So you can kind of like brute force it in a way. It still requires you to pretty much learn it, and you will get quicker over the time because you've been doing it so much. But I also think it just helps with not having to use Alt 1 without giving an actual clue helper to begin with. And obviously just reduce the puzzle steps, like please, like literally please. And more variety in steps and new steps would just be great as well. And I think having them designed about what I said earlier about steps that are already existing when it comes to average time completion would be really, really good. Because quite frankly, especially elite clues, they are literally scan clues or arrow clues, and I think it's the worst clue tier design-wise, in my opinion. And I think it would just be great if it's just an accumulation of all sorts of things with, you know, emote clue scrolls, coordinate clue scrolls, scan clue scrolls, puzzle clue scrolls. Hey, that actually sounds like master clue scrolls. Actually, just the design of master clue scrolls is pretty decent, to be fair. And I think rework certain steps as well with the mentality of completion time and what it takes to complete, because pretty much with clue scrolls there are certain steps in every single tier that are just you never do if you do them efficiently, or if you want to, like, you know, just love your life. Where, for example, easy clue scrolls come to mind, where you need to go to Drainer Manor's top, like literally at the top of Drainer Manor, which you always skip, or you just teleport to with your jacket. Unless obviously you don't have either of those, you just do them. It's just a step that you always skip out on. Or the Dorgeshan Khan agility course that you need to do for a master clue step. You always skip out on it if you have the tools to skip steps, right? And I think every single step should be viable to do, and not like a clear skip. Obviously there will always be skip and non-skip ones, because, you know, some will just be quicker than others, and if they remove these steps, new steps will be added as skips. But there are certain steps that you would just never ever do, because they just take so much more time than other steps. And remove the soft cap. Like seriously, if you don't know, there's a soft cap on clue scrolls, which you notice when you do PVM, right? Like you can have 25 clues of any tier in your bank, but it caps out when you have 25. You won't get them as drops anymore from PVM, for example. But obviously you can upgrade to 50 as well if you've done the clue scroll thing. But quite frankly, it's make no sense, because the main ways to collect clue scrolls with like the Big of Book and Prosper Smithing or whatever, it bypasses the soft cap anyway. So there's not really a point. Just remove it, so you could just stack up clues infinitely during your playtime. So seasonal clue scrolls, the thing that I started off this video and then went on an absolute tangent about everything else clue scroll related. I'm really sorry. This is my second time recording this, and the first time was literally 25 minutes long. And it's, yeah, I'm passionate about this subject. I love clue scrolls, and there's so much to be done about it. And seasonal clue scrolls sound really great. Pretty much what they're going to be is a new type of clue scroll themed around a season. And that doesn't mean that the steps will only be like, if winter time, it's only in winter areas, right? But it could be a part of it, but it mainly is the reward that you get from them. Call them seasonal rares, where there's a chance that you get like a certain like antler, for example, from winter clue scrolls, because that's like a winter themed rare, right? From those clue scrolls, and when you complete them during that season, so during the winter time, you have a higher chance of getting it. These are all just concepts and ideas, right? Nothing of this is set in stone. This is not a final design. This is nothing. But this is what I understand from it personally when I read the design document that you're seeing on screen right now, which I love Sponge, but I think design document making might not be his strong suit, if I'm going to be honest, because I think this is very complicated. I don't really understand it, and I needed Bo from the Clue Chase to explain it to me, but this is pretty much the gist of it. And what they want to do with it is that they should be fun to do and not feel like a chore, and get the clue and think, you know, I can't wait to finish this Slayer task and go do this clue scroll. Kind of like how clue scrolls used to work, right? And I think that is a dangerous thing, because I think that there's... So the discussion here is kind of, should it be a D&D, so a distraction and diversion, or should it be an active playstyle? Should you be able to stack these up to whenever you want and then just solve them whenever you want? Or should it be one of those things that you need to actively go out of your way to do so, because, for example, you might not get another clue scroll unless you complete it? I think leaving normal clue scrolls should be as they are. They should be an active playstyle, but you can make these seasonal clue scrolls more of a D&D, more of a reason to... If you want another one, you have to have completed this one first. Kind of how clue scrolls used to work and how they still work in in old school RuneScape. I think it's something you could do. I'm not a fan of it personally. I think you should maybe stack like a little amount, like 5 or 10. But yeah, it should feel a little bit more exciting. I do definitely agree with that. I do think that they should make it feel like more of a special thing when you get it, and not be like, you know what, I solved this later, and then wait 6 months to solve them, and then when you're bored in RuneScape you start doing clue scrolls, right? And I think that is not a good balance. And I think it's good if, as I said, the normal clue scroll, so maybe just like a 10 stack or a 5 or 10 stack, where, you know, it fills up rather quickly and then you need to complete them. And the buff for the seasons I think is cool, but yet again, I think that they should just have it. If in springtime you can only get spring clue scrolls, but you can still complete them obviously after springtime, and in summertime you only get summer clue scrolls or whatever. Like, I think the balancing there is gonna be a bit shaky, because it would also suck that if you want a specific rare and you just happen to miss that season, you can't go and get it yourself until like next year. So I don't really know how that balancing is there. So yeah, I don't know. But one thing they definitely need to avoid is making Elite Clue Scrolls V2. Have a lot of variety in the steps. Literally just add all the types of clue steps plus new ones to it, because that would just make it so much more fun. Have me go to a location and dig on a map or in a coordinate, right? But also let me do emote clues, let me do certain types of puzzles, introduce new puzzles, and have me answer questions that are non-static. So for example, the one on the design document has been given, how many cows have been slain in Lumbridge today? And that answer could be found on a sign outside of the Lumbridge cow pen, for example. And I think that could just be great to have it added and just make it feel a little bit more dynamic. And I just think there's room for this. I think there's room for a new tier of clue scroll that is themed around this. And yeah, I think it would be cool if it's only acquirable in the season, but there are some issues with it. But I'm just very curious to see what they are going to be doing with it, because there's room for a lot of improvement, as I said, especially if this seasonal clue scroll update comes with an overhaul to clue scrolls in general, solving some of the issues that I mentioned before and tackling it, and then combining it with a new tier of clue scroll. And I just would love to do that, and I would love if there's just a new tier that just feels fun and exciting to solve and not feel like a chore. But hopefully it could also help with all the other tiers. But yeah, hope you enjoyed this very, very long ramble video on clue scrolls. If you did, let me know in the comment section down below what you think, and leave a like on the video as well. Subscribe if you are new. And my name's Chevalric, and I'm gonna leave your guys' ears now. So much love, have a great day, and I'll see you guys in my next video.